my name's Joe. Welcome to the channel where I help you make better coffee and give you honest reviews. Today I have the Lelit Bianca. I've been using it for a few months and I'm super excited to finally do the full review of the machine. Before we get into it though, I want you to take a minute, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you don't mind. It helps me out a ton as I'm a small creator. So let's get into it. Alright, so you were the viewer, the Instagrammer. If you were on Instagram, you helped pick out this machine through a voting system, and I actually probably wouldn't have picked that machine out, but I'm glad that you did because I ended up really falling in love with this machine. So I'm really excited to do this full review and show you just how much I love this machine. To start, we're going to go with pros, and then we're going to move into cons. I'll make a shot of espresso, give my kind of final thoughts on it, and then score the machine. So let's get right into it. All right, first up on the pros list is the aesthetics of this machine. I think the aesthetics on this is stunning. The machine has all stainless steel, chromatic looking pieces. You have very nice walnut accent pieces to the feet, to the knobs, and the signature paddle here for the flow control. I really do love the design. Someone's gonna walk into your kitchen, you're gonna see this, and they're gonna be like, whoa, what the heck is this? It's a stunning piece that people are just gonna look at. It's, you know, a showstopper of sorts. I will say a lot of E61 machines do look very nice, so keep that in mind. It's not like this is the only E61 that looks amazing, but this does have its own pieces and accents that I think make it stand out right on its own. Next up is the cup warmer. I think the cup warmer is really nice. It has a lot of space up here. It really makes the cups piping hot. Like I could pick this up and it's just piping hot. You don't have to worry about it getting, you know, you have to keep it on for hours on end before your cups are actually warm like some other machines. The next thing up on the list is the water tank. I think it's really nice because it's movable. You could bring it from the back to either side without much fuss. And the other thing is that it's very large. It is a 3-liter water tank, so you're not having to go back and fill this thing all the time. And not only is it a large water tank, it also gives you indication right on the front when you get your water low. It'll say, you know, error, you need to put more water in it. So that's a nice piece that a lot of the higher end machines sometimes leave out. On top of that, if you don't like filling at all, you absolutely hate it, you could actually plumb this machine in to a water line directly. And I love that feature because, you know, I really do hate, you know, making a shot of espresso and then going to make another one and you ran out of water. And it's just a frustrating thing where if you could plumb it right in, it's very nice and you don't have to worry about it. And it also gives you the ability to do pre-infusion at the pump pressure in your house. So that's around 3 bar. The other thing I really love about this machine is all the accessories that the Lelit Bianca gives you right out of the box. So not only are you getting some nice baskets, you know, you have an 14 gram basket, you get, and they're all IMS baskets, which is really nice. It's not an off-brand, so you don't really have to buy upgraded ones. The other thing is you get a bottomless portafilter, and they have a sort of a signature 2-hole portafilter as well, which I kind of like, but sometimes I just want to really have that nice bottomless portafilter. That's gorgeous. And a lot of machines, especially in this higher end class, don't always give you a bottomless. It's actually kind of rare, so it's a nice added feature that Lelit includes in the box. The other thing too is you get a 2-hole steam wand and a 4-hole steam wand right out of the box, so you have a lot of options as far as your steaming preferences and how you like to really texture milk. So that's a nice addition that they've added there. Alright, one of the other things that is great with the accessories is the tamper. This is a full 58.2 millimeter tamper. It's the nicest tamper I've ever seen come with an espresso machine. So you don't really have to go out and buy another tamper. I think it's like totally unnecessary to do that. You might want to get a distributor, but I think out of the box you definitely don't need a tamper. Alright, so the other piece that part of the steaming section that I like is the ball joint that it comes on. You have a lot of movability on both sides, and the fact that it is a double walled, so you can hold this thing, you can really grab onto it if you want, while you're steaming, and you don't have to worry about burning yourself. It really does a good job of staying cool that whole time. The other thing you get with the stand and everything, you get to pull this out, and underneath you actually have a lot of area down here to put all your accessories, such as your attachments, your other steam tips, and your cleaning supplies. So it is nice that it's not only functionally, you know, a pretty big water reservoir here to pick up, you know, drips and all that stuff, but you also have some space underneath, like a lot of machines don't offer. All right, the other thing that's really nice about this machine in particular, and all E61s, is they're just super, super heavy. This machine is very heavy. It's super sturdy. It's not going to move. If you're trying to, you know, put a portafilter in there and you really got to jam it in for whatever reason, you probably shouldn't do that. But if you are putting some force underneath, it's really not going to break anything. It's a very well-made, hand-built machine in Milan, so you don't have to, you know, baby it or try to hold it down while you're trying to force a portafilter in. Like a lot of the smaller machines, you know, you have to do that. So those are a lot of the pros, but I think the biggest one is going to be using the machine. When you wake up in the morning, seeing this machine on your counter, you get excited to use it, and the functionality of it really gives you plenty to offer. So first up, obviously, is the flow profiler. It is wonderful that you can, you know, slow down your shot, increase it. You really set the pressure directly right in there, and you don't really have to, you know, go too crazy learning it. There is, you know, pretty easy to see. You have the pressure right here. You could bring it to 9 bars, ramp it down. You could do pre-infusions, and you know, it's a really, really nice piece that they've added, and that's really the signature thing that you're probably looking at this machine for. So I will say that that is a super, super nice, beneficial thing to have. You can save terrible shots. There's shots sometimes where you're just way too coarse on your grind. You can push this back, and sometimes you could actually get a pretty tasty and maybe even better than you would have ever had if you had the right you know, grind setting. So it is nice. Other things too, I like that you could set the, you know, it's a PID, so you get the temperature set. You know, you can get that full range of like 190 to 206 degrees temperature on your actual like shot. And then on top of that, you actually have the control of your steam pressure. And right out of the box, it's set to 247, which is pretty good, but you could actually ramp it up all the way up to like 300 if you wanted. I would probably not go that high, but it's nice that you have the ability to do that. So the steam pressure can get as high as you want if you really want that, you know, bang, as soon as you want it to ramp up, be done in 10 seconds instead of waiting 30 seconds. So yeah, I would say this machine overall, there's tons of pros for it, and I'm going to be honest, we had to really think about the cons, so let me tell you about those. Alright, so the first con I really want to say, and this holds true for a lot of espresso machines, James Hoffman has mentioned it in a lot of his recent videos, but this machine does not come out of the box at 9 bar, and it is frustrating. I don't know why companies keep doing this. If you're listening to me, Lelit, please stop it. Set this to 9 bars. Most people want it there, so just do it. Anyways, you do have to go, and the process to do it is a little bit of a tedious thing. You got to get underneath the machine and kind of, you know, crank a little screw down there. The other thing too is on the Lelit Bianca, you do have this flow controller, which is super, super nice. But a lot of people don't realize is that this is a rotary pump machine, which is phenomenal. But with a rotary pump, you can get above that standard 8 grams per second in your flow. But when you actually have this ramped all the way over here, that's as high as you're going to get. So a rotary pump can actually ramp all the way up to 30 grams per second, but you actually are getting cut off here because they don't allow you to turn this more. So if you want to change that, you have to go and kind of unscrew it and make some adjustments, but then you end up losing the ability to totally cut off flow. So, you know, it's nice to have it, but I think they could have maybe implemented this slightly better. The other thing too is plumbing in is amazing. I really like that you can do it, but the way that they've implemented it, you do have to kind of flip your machine up and turn it over, and there's a couple of different things you have to do to make it actually transition over to being plumbed in. So it's not like you just plug it in and flip a switch. There is a little bit of a process. Flipping this machine is not an easy task in itself. So one of the things too that I kind of got a little frustrated with is the pressure out of here is set to 247 degrees for the steam boiler, but it actually, I think, could be ramped up probably closer to 280 because it's not that it's slow, but I think it could be a lot faster, especially for a machine of this high quality. I think maybe they should consider setting this up out of the box, maybe 260, 280, and it's not that big of a deal. You just go into the settings and change it. And that leads me to one of my next big cons. I think that this little screen here is a big frustration for a lot of people. It is not user-friendly. It's super complicated. You have to go back and forth into the settings. You only have 2 buttons here to do stuff. So what I would hope they would do in the future, maybe add Bluetooth or Wi-Fi functionality, so you could just do it on your phone and you have an app where it's a lot easier to use, similar to like the La Marzocco or something like that. So I hope that they end up doing something like that, but you are stuck with what you have there. All right, it's time to make a shot of espresso. So let's grab the portafilter and let's put some coffee in. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of give it a couple of taps here. I'm gonna move it around. If you watch any of my other videos, you'll notice that, you know, I have a lot of other equipment that I normally use, but we are here on set today doing some fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a tamp. And what's nice with this portafilter too is it gives you a nice even surface to tamp on, so you don't have to worry about, you know, over tamping on one side. You can really just go straight down. All right, gonna push some of that off. We'll get rid of this. And let's pull our shot. What I'm going to do is probably do a little pre-infusion here. So I'm going to go around probably about 2 to 3 bars, lower the pressure, and then I will ramp it up to around 9 to 9.5. So let's take a look here. Right at 2 bars. And look at that. That is syrupy. Look at that. Right at 20 seconds, I'm going to really ramp down here. And slow down the flow. All right, right at 28 seconds. I don't have my scale or anything like that, but you don't want, with the Lelit Bianca, you can really learn how to pull a shot and not have to worry about, you know, weighing everything every time. It's nice to, you know, dial things in, but for this, you don't really have to. So we have a nice head of crema there. Let's give it a first sip. Marvelous. Yeah, really good. It's probably a little bit, came out a little bit longer, has a little bit more, you know, liquid to espresso ratio. This is probably closer to a 1 to 3 ratio, or maybe 1 to 3.5. But it is a very, very good shot nonetheless. It's not over extracted and not too bitter, and that's the wonderful thing about the Lelit Bianca is, like I said, you have the flow control. You can see when your shot is maybe, you know, a little watery or too thick, and kind of change things around a little bit. So yeah, I think this is a great shot of espresso. I think if you were to buy this machine and learn it, you're gonna, instead of wasting a lot of coffee, you can save a lot of coffee. So I highly recommend it. As far as my final thoughts on it is, and my final score, I'll say that I don't know if I can recommend anyone spend $3,000 on an espresso machine unless, you know, you have a ton of money to spend and you really want a beautiful piece of art in your house. And that's what I think this is more of an art piece and maybe something, you know, to really, if you're a huge hobbyist and enjoy it, then yeah, go for it. But for the average person, I don't know if I want to recommend $3,000 to spend. But with that said, this machine is going to get a 9.6 out of 10 on my scale that I rate on every time. And I think it's well deserving of that score. This machine knocks it out of the park in so many categories. It was really hard for me to find cons about this machine. Me and my wife went back and forth talking about it, trying to decide, you know, what do we not even like about it. But, you know, we did find a few things. But I think overall, if you were to get this machine, you're not going to find much about it that you don't like. So with that said, if you have questions, you have comments, leave them in the description below. Also, you voted for me to buy this machine, and we're, you know, about done reviewing it, as you can see. So maybe let me know what machine you want me to buy next in the comments. And don't forget to like. Thanks.